Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and it's May the 14th. We're ready for lesson 134 in A Course in Miracles workbook for students. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. And this is an exciting chapter. It's kind of a long one, it's 3 pages long, so we won't take too much time to review. But I did want to take just a minute for yesterday's lesson. I will not value what is valueless. A few points that I wanted to bring our attention to. You do not ask too much of life, but far too little. Of course, he talks in there that there's no satisfaction in the world, but he's not trying to take the small amount of joy that this world gives us away in place of utopian ideas. He just wants us to have what's truly ours. We've already stressed there are but two alternatives to choose between. And what are they? Truth and illusion. The real and the unreal. All right? Keep that in mind. That's very important. Another kindly and related law is that each choice you make brings everything to you or nothing. All right? So that falls from the whole idea that we choose between the real and the unreal, which brings everything to us or nothing. All right, the illusion brings nothing. In choosing, the first thing in choosing, first, if you choose a thing that will not last forever, then what you've chose is valueless. Okay, and when you do that, what you're doing is you've chosen something. He's deceived by nothing in a form that he thinks is real. Or I think in a form that he thinks he likes. Of course, he thinks it's real too. But he is deceived by nothing in a form that he thinks he likes. Okay? Next, if you choose to take a thing away from someone else, you'll have nothing left. Okay? So it has to be good for everybody if it's good for you. This is because when you deny his right to everything, you've denied your own. Remember, we're all connected. There's just one of us here. What you do to yourself, you do to others. What you do to others, you do to yourself. Your next consideration is the one in which the others rest. Why is the choice you make of value to you? All right, we're going to look at why is something valuable? What's it offering you? Here is the easiest of all to be deceived. For what the ego wants, it fails to recognize. Yet is its camouflage a thin veneer which could deceive but those who are content to be deceived. So if you're not content to be deceiving, you honestly want the truth, well, then you'll be able to see through this smoke screen, as he called it. Let's see. And so we come to the criterion for choice, which is the hardest to believe because its obviousness is overlaid by many levels of obscurity. But here's how you do it. But if you feel any guilt about your choice, you've allowed the ego's goals to come between the real alternatives, and thus you do not realize there are but two. Okay? You're getting all caught up in the illusions that are built on illusions. And you seem justified in protecting yourself or in condemning another. And this is what we're learning to go beyond. Heaven itself is reached by empty hands and open minds, which come with nothing to find everything. We will attempt to reach this state today with self-deception laid aside and an honest willingness to value but the truly valuable and the real. I will not value what is valueless, and only what has value do I seek, for only that do I desire to find. And then we receive what waits for everyone who reaches unencumbered to the gate of heaven, which swings open as he comes. Isn't that nice? So this is where we're headed. And it's going to swing, the gate's going to swing open if we come with an open mind and how does he say it? With empty hands and an open mind. I will not value what is valueless. We were to protect your, how do you say it? Should you begin to let yourself collect some needless burdens or believe you see some difficult decisions facing you? They're not difficult. They're all easy. This is why salvation is so simple. Be quick to answer with this simple thought. I will not value what is valueless, for what is valuable belongs to me. All right? Okay, hey, look what I've got here. Coming up my driveway, I had some blackberries that were reaching over into the road, and I just clipped them off and thought I'd bring them up to show them to you. These are just the native blackberries. They're really prolific. They're all in bloom here in the Ozarks right now. And they make a little smaller blackberry, but they're always dependable. You always have blackberries on these things. And I think they're kind of pretty. They don't have a real strong smell, but they've got a fragrance to them. And they'll look kind of pretty here in the vase for a few days. All right, let's go to lesson 134. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Put on your seatbelt. We're going to read through this quickly. There's a lot here, a whole lot here. Let us review the meaning of forgive, for it is apt to be distorted and to be perceived as something which entails an unfair sacrifice of righteous wrath, a gift unjustified and undeserved, a complete denial of the truth. In such a view, forgiveness must be seen as mere eccentric folly, and this course appears to rest salvation on a whim. Okay, so number 2. This twisted view of what forgiveness means is easily corrected when you can accept the fact that pardon is not asked for what is true. Key idea. Let's look at it again. This twisted view of what forgiveness means is easily corrected when you can accept the fact that pardon is not asked for what is true. It must be limited to what is false. It is irrelevant to everything except illusions. Truth is God's creation, and to pardon this is meaningless. All truth belongs to Him, reflects His laws, radiates His love. Does this need pardon? How can you forgive the sinless and the eternally benign? In other words, your brother and your sister are perfect creations in a perfect creation. And so all you're what we're going to learn to do here is to forgive that which didn't even occur. Oh, it may have happened in this dream, but who was responsible for this dream? And this is another chance for you to have salvation, to look beyond the appearance and see that God is still in charge and that love is still the only reality. Paragraph 3. The major difficulty that you find in genuine forgiveness on your part is that you still believe you must forgive the truth and not illusions. In other words, you think that someone really did do something to harm you. You conceive of pardon as a vain attempt to look past what is there, to overlook the truth in an unfounded effort to deceive yourself by making an illusion true. This twisted viewpoint but reflects the hold that the idea of sin retains as yet upon your mind as you regard yourself. 4. Because you think your sins are real, you look on pardon as deception. Because you think the sins are real. We're trying to, I've emphasized this over and over, that we're going to awaken from this dream where we think that sin is real and that pain is real, that for the Son of God to be harmed is real, or the daughter of God. For it is impossible to think of sin as true and not believe forgiveness is a lie. Yeah, if you thought it was true they really had harmed you, then you're lying to yourself if you let them off the hook. Thus is forgiveness really but a sin, like all the rest. It says the truth is false and smiles on the corrupt as if they were as blameless as the grass, as white as snow. It is delusional in what it thinks it can accomplish. It would see as right the plainly wrong, the loathsome as the good. 5. Pardon is no escape in such a view. It merely is a further sign that sin is unforgivable, at best to be concealed, denied, or called another name. For pardon is a treachery to truth. Guilt cannot be forgiven. If you sin, your guilt is everlasting. Those who are forgiven from the view their sins are real are pitifully mocked and twice condemned. First by themselves for what they think they did, and once again by those who pardon them. So when you pardon someone, you say, yeah, your sins are real, but I'm going to let you off the hook. I'm going to be a nice guy. I'm going to let it off. I'm going to forgive you. That's not the kind of forgiveness we want to do. The kind of forgiveness we want to do is say, well, he's going to explain. Let's let him tell it. Let me read it. Paragraph 6. It is sin's unreality that makes forgiveness natural and wholly sane. A deep relief to those who offer it, a quiet blessing where it is received. Let's read that one again. That's the key. It is sin's unreality that makes forgiveness natural and wholly sane. A deep relief to those who offer it, a quiet blessing where it is received. It does not countenance illusions, but collects them lightly, with a little laugh, and gently lays them at the feet of truth. And there they disappear entirely. 7. Forgiveness is the only thing that stands for truth in the illusions of the world. It sees their nothingness and looks right through the 1,000 forms in which they may appear. It looks on lies, but it is not deceived. It does not heed the self-accusing shrieks of sinners mad with guilt. It looks on them with quiet eyes. It merely says to them, my brother, what you think is not the truth. Isn't that sweet? It looks on them with quiet eyes and merely says to them, my brother, what you think is not the truth. What you think you did, it's not even real. Paragraph 8. The strength of pardon is its honesty, which is so uncorrupted that it sees illusions as illusions, not as truth. It is because of this that it becomes the undeceiver in the face of lies, the great restorer of the simple truth. By its ability to overlook what is not there, by its ability to overlook what is not there, it opens up the way to truth, which had been blocked by dreams of guilt. Let's read that one again. By its ability to overlook what is not there, it opens up the way to truth, which had been blocked by dreams of guilt. By dreams of guilt. All right? Because guilt's not real, but you can dream it real and make a world where it appears to be real, but it's only an appearance. And that's why we can forgive by saying, well, this is just a dream. This is just a make-believe. This is something I made up, and pictorial representation is coming back to bite me. And I can just say, hey, it's just a dream. It's not real. 9. Now are you free to follow in the way your true forgiveness opens up to you. For if one brother has received this gift of you, the door is open to yourself. There is a very simple way to find the door to true forgiveness and perceive it open wide in welcome. Okay, there's a very simple way to find the door to true forgiveness and perceive it open wide in welcome. When you feel that you are tempted to accuse someone of sin in any form, Do not allow your mind to dwell on what you think he did, for this is self-deception. Ask instead, should I accuse myself of doing this? Remember, what you do to others, you do to yourself. So do you want to condemn yourself for your own failure, for your brother's failure? That is really your failure. It was really your failure to perceive it that way. But did you want to condemn yourself? Of course, we don't want to condemn ourselves. We don't want to condemn anybody because it doesn't make us happy. We fall from, I like to think of it as we fall from grace, but we can be restored again, obviously, just by changing our mind and seeing what's real, which is God, always. Paragraph 10. Thus will you see alternatives for choice in terms which render choosing meaningful and keep your mind as free of guilt and pain as God himself intended it to be, and as it is in truth. It is but lies which would condemn. In truth is innocence the only thing there is. Okay? In truth is innocence the only thing there is. Forgiveness stands between illusions and the truth. Forgiveness stands between what? Illusions and the truth. Between the world you see and that which lies beyond. Between the hell of guilt and heaven's gate. Forgiveness is the mighty restorer of the truth. It brings heaven to us and frees us from hell. 11. Across this bridge, forgiveness, across this bridge, as powerful as love which laid its blessing on it, are all dreams of evil and of hatred and attack brought silently to truth. Even forgiveness is an illusion, but it's the illusion that frees us from all other illusions. They are not kept to swell and bluster and to terrify the foolish dreamer who believes in them. He has been gently wakened from his dream by understanding what he thought he saw was never there. And now he cannot feel that all escape has been denied to him. 12. He does not have to fight to save himself. He does not have to kill the dragons which he thought pursued him, nor need he erect the heavy walls of stone and iron doors he thought would make him safe. He can remove the ponderous and useless armor made to chain his mind to fear and misery. His step is light, and as he lifts his foot to stride ahead, a star is left behind to point the way to those who follow him. 13. Forgiveness must be practiced, for the world cannot perceive its meaning, nor provide a guide to teach you its beneficence. There is no thought in all the world which leads to any understanding of the laws it follows, nor the thought which it reflects. It is as alien to the world as is your own reality. What is? There is no thought in all the world which leads to any understanding of the laws it follows, nor the thought which it reflects. It is as alien to the world as is your own reality. Forgiveness. And yet, it joins your mind with the reality in you. 14. Today we practice true forgiveness, that the time of joining be no more delayed. We're going to connect with each other, and the time of joining is no more delayed as we practice true forgiveness, which is simply choosing the truth over illusions. I love the one where I've already quoted it to you before, but it's later on we're going to look at this in another way. Forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. Our practicing becomes the footsteps, lightening up the way. Let's back up. Today we practice true forgiveness, that the time of joining be no more delayed. For we would meet with our reality in freedom and in peace. Our practicing becomes the footsteps, lightening up the way for all our brothers who will follow us to the reality we share with them. Paragraph 15. That this may be accomplished, let us give a quarter of an hour twice today and spend it with the guide who understands the meaning of forgiveness and was sent to us to teach it. Let us ask of him, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. And who is our guide? The Holy Spirit that's been sent to us to lead us out of the dream of illusion, of pain, of sickness, of death. Back and we're you going to use forgiveness to do just that, following our guide. 17. Then choose one brother as he will direct and catalog his, end quote, sins as one by one they cross your mind. Be certain not to dwell on any one of them, but realize that you are using his offenses, but to save the world from all ideas of sin. Briefly consider all the evil things you thought of him, and each time ask yourself, would I condemn myself for doing this? Would I condemn myself for doing this? Whatever you condemn your brother for, you're condemning yourself. You can't escape that. We've already learned that. Giving and receiving are one in truth. 18. Let him be freed from all the thoughts you had of sin in him. And now you are prepared for freedom. What? Let him be freed from all the thoughts you had of sin in him. You thought you saw sin in him? Well, free your mind from all of that. And what happens? Now you are prepared for freedom. Now you're prepared for freedom by freeing your mind from his sins. If you have been practicing thus far in willingness and honesty, you will begin to sense a lifting up, a lightening of weight across your chest, a deep and certain feeling of relief. Since you're going to stand a little taller, you're going to take a little deeper breath. You're not going to feel so burdened down and weighted down with sin, perceiving wrongness all around you. You're going to be able to breathe a little deeper and a little freer. The time remaining, okay, so let's look at that again. If you've been practicing thus far in willingness and honesty, you'll begin to sense a lifting up, a lightening of weight across your chest, a deep and certain feeling of relief. The time remaining should be given to experiencing the escape from all the heavy chains you sought to lay upon your brother, which were laid upon yourself. You thought you were laying it on your brother. Well, weren't you deceived? That's the way the ego thinks. Thinks you can free yourself by giving what you don't like away to somebody else. But that's how you keep it for yourself, is by giving it away. We got to learn this lesson. We're all connected. And what we do to our brother, we do to ourselves. Paragraph 19. Forgiveness should be practiced through the day, for there will be so many times when you forget its meaning and attack yourself. You'll still have the tendency to judge and to condemn and to see sin. But what we're to do, forgiveness should be practiced through the day. For there will be so many times when you forget its meaning and attack yourself. And when this occurs, allow your mind to see through this illusion as you tell yourself, let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Should I accuse myself of doing this? I will not lay this chain upon myself. Okay, let's do that. That's definitely one you'll want to write and put on your card today. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Should I accuse myself of doing this? I will not lay this chain upon myself. In everything you do, remember this. No one is crucified alone, and yet no one can enter heaven by himself. I told my kids when they were growing up, getting to heaven is like playing leapfrog. We kind of leap over each other. We see each other. We're playing and we're leaping over sin. We're just having fun on our way. No one is crucified alone, and yet no one can enter heaven by himself. We're going to leapfrog our way to heaven just by seeing the goodness in each other. Each time we do it, we're leaping over them and they're leaping over us. All right, we're on our way to heaven. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is. Should I accuse myself of doing this? I will not lay this chain upon myself. Until tomorrow, let me perceive forgiveness as it is, and be sure, he says, to remember this in everything you do. No one is crucified alone, and yet no one can enter heaven by himself. Let me perceive forgiveness as it is.